Assalamualaikum guys. This reader name is Home for a Day. Hannah stood in the kitchen wearing her pajamas. I've got itchy eyes, a runny nose, and I keep sneezing. I can't possibly go to school. Mom wasn't sure Hannah was telling the truth. Are you really ill? She asked. Or is there a spelling test? Of course I'm ill. Hannah waved a bin full of tissues at her mom's side. Well, I can't stay home from work. I have an important meeting today. Dad will have to look after you instead. You must be very quiet, Dad told Hannah, opening his laptop. I have lots of work to do. Hannah snuggled under her duvet. She read comics to her hamster Chester. She thought about the spelling test they were doing at school that day. This is the life, she decided. Hannah had a lovely long snooze, and when she woke up, she felt a lot better. In fact, she hardly felt ill at all. The trouble was, now she felt bored that she yelled. Dad came rushing up the stairs. What's the matter? He asked. It's lunchtime, said Hannah. Dad brought her toast and scrambled egg. This toast is burnt, said Hannah, and the egg is too lumpy. Dad brought fresh toast and eggs. He brought orange juice and more orange juice. He brought her a hot drink with lemon in. He brought her a plain biscuit to nibble. He was just settling back to work when Hannah bellowed. What now? Asked Dad. I don't like this plain biscuit, said Hannah. I want a chocolate one. Hannah, you're supposed to be resting. You are not supposed to be asking for chocolate biscuits, said Dad. Please go to sleep. Hannah sighed. He's mean to be looking after me, she told Chester, and he won't even bring me a chocolate biscuit. She felt hungrier and hungrier. If I don't have a chocolate biscuit, she thought, I might faint. I'm sure if Dad knew that he would let me have one. She decided to go downstairs and tell him. She put Chester in her pajama pocket so he could come too. When Hannah got downstairs, Dad was on the phone. I won't disturb him, Hannah decided. Heading to the kitchen, she climbed onto a stool and reached for the chocolate biscuit. That's when she heard a funny sound. Scratch, scratch. Hannah almost fell off her stool. The noise seemed to be coming from the door to the garden, so Hannah went to see. She opened the door and a little black and white cat ran into the kitchen. Meow, it said. Hello, said Hannah, tickling its tummy. I'm going to call you Mittens. She decided to keep the cat. After all, Mittens obviously wanted to stay. She drank all the milk Hannah gave her and curled up happily in a bed made from Dad's jumper. We'd better keep you a secret, said Hannah. Dad doesn't like cats. He says they make him sneeze. Just then, Hannah heard footsteps. Dad was coming down the hall. Hannah hid the cat in a cupboard just as Dad came into the kitchen. Why aren't you in bed? He asked. Have you been eating chocolate biscuits? No, said Hannah. Look there on the shelf. Then Dad spotted his jumper. I was looking for that. He pulled it on. Now, Hannah, I want you to achoo. Dad's eyes were red and he couldn't stop sneezing. Of course, there was cat hair on his jumper. You must have caught my cold, said Hannah. Either that or there's a cat about, said Dad. He laughed, but that's just silly. The doorbell rang and Dad went to answer it. Hannah checked on mittens, but when Hannah opened the cupboard door, something terrible happened. Chester poked his head out of Hannah's pajama pocket, and the cat saw him. Meow went the cat. Squeak went Chester. Chester jumped to the floor. He went darting round the room with the cat chasing him. Stop, yelled Hannah. But it was no good. Bang! The cereal fell all over the table. Splash! The milk fell all over the floor. Crash! The biscuits fell onto the counter. Then the rice and pasta and breakfast cereal all came tumbling down. In the hall, Dad was talking to an old lady. She was called Mrs. Brown, and she had just moved in next door. I'm so sorry, said Dad. We haven't seen your cat. Could I look in your back garden? Asked Mrs. Brown. I think she might have run that way. Of course, Dad said. Mrs. Brown followed him into the kitchen. Squeak! Chester dodged between Mrs. Brown's legs. Meow! The cat tried to follow. Tables! Cried Mrs. Brown. There you are. I've been looking everywhere. Good, said Tables. Hello, said Hannah. Dad was staring at the kitchen. Look at this mess, he groaned. Hannah, what have you done? Please don't be cross with her, said Mrs. Brown to Dad. I'm so grateful to have Tables back. You must take these as a reward. She opened her bag and handed Hannah a big box of chocolates. After Mrs. Brown had left, Dad said, let's get this mess cleared up before your mom gets home. They worked hard all afternoon. Dad swept and Hannah scrubbed. Then Dad mopped and Hannah wiped. I'm worn out, groaned Dad, putting away the mop. Me too, moaned Hannah, hanging up the duster. There was the sound of a key in the door and Mum came in. How are you, Hannah? She asked as she put down her laptop bag. Are you better or do you need another restful day at home? Hannah thought about chasing the cat. She thought about knocking over all that food. She thought about cleaning the kitchen from top to bottom. Actually, she said, what I need is a restful day at school.